I'm going to start this morning's message with reading a little something out of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And there's a question that he asks, or someone asks him, and he responds, aren't past and future just as real, sometimes even more real than the present? After all, the past determines who we are as well as how we perceive and behave in the present, and our future goals determine which action we take in the present. And he replies, he says, have you ever experienced, done, thought, or felt anything outside the now? Do you think you ever will? Is it possible for anything to happen or be outside the now? The answer is obvious, is it not? Nothing ever happened in the past, it happened in the now. Nothing will ever happen in the future, it will happen in the now. What you think of as the past is a memory trace stored in the mind of a former now. When you remember the past, you reactivate the memory trace, and you do so now. The future is an imagined now, a projection of the mind. When the future comes, it comes as the now. When you think about the future, you do it now. Past and future obviously have no reality of their own, just as the moon has no light of its own, but can only reflect the light of the sun, so are past and future only pale reflections of the light, power, and reality of the eternal present. Their reality is borrowed from the now. The essence of what I am saying here cannot be understood by the mind. The moment you grasp it, there is a shift in consciousness from mind to being, from time to presence. Suddenly, everything feels alive, radiates energy, emanates being. So I wanted to read that as a precursor to my talk today. And I'll start today by reading Psalm 118:24, and this is what we say every week at the end of our service. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad in it. We personalize it. Listen to this beautiful writing that was written in Sanskrit some, 3,200 years ago. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course, live all the verities and realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation of dawn. And Ernest Holmes wrote, O child of the all-good, you are born of eternal day. The thoughts of the tomorrows and the yesterdays are swallowed up in the great realization of the perfect here and the complete now. Today, we're going to take a look at the idea of being present and available for the present, which each of these passages invites us to do. To be aware of the here and the now. Be fully and consciously connected to the one ultimate reality and the divine, which only knows the present. God doesn't know the past. God doesn't know the future, only knows the present. And that is easier said than done, isn't it? Have any one of you had an experience like this? This was something I read on the internet, and I could so relate to this. One day I decided to wash the car. So I started toward the garage, but noticed that there was mail on the table. Okay, I thought to myself, I'm going to wash that car, but first I'm going to go through the mail. So I put my car keys down on the desk. After discarding the junk mail, I noticed that the trash can needed to be emptied. I'll just put the bills on the desk and come back to them. But first I'm going to take the trash out. And since I'm going to pass the mailbox, I really have a few bills that need to be paid. So where is my checkbook? Oh my gosh, there's only one check left. Okay, where did I put those extra checks? They have to be here somewhere. So while I'm looking for my extra checks, I go to my office and I find an empty plastic cup that I left there the last night. Well, shoot, where did I put those checks? Well, let me just take this cup and put it in the kitchen because, it needs to be cleaned out before it gets all icky. And I head to the kitchen, and I look out the window. Oh my gosh, the water, the flowers out there, they're droopy. They need a little water. Let me go take care of that. But wait, first, what are my glasses doing here on the counter? I'll just put them away. Wait. I've got to find the checks. Where did I put those checks? So, whew, now the day has passed, and it's the end of the day, and my car is not washed. The bills are unpaid. The trash is still in the kitchen. The dirty cup is still in the sink. The flowers never did get watered. The checkbook still only has one check left. And when I try to figure out why nothing got done today, I'm baffled because I know I was busy all day long, right? And by the way, what did I do with my car keys? I'm always looking for my car keys. And that's what happens when we don't stay in the present. When we don't stay in the present moment. The present is my point of power. Say that with me. The present is my point of power. How often do we miss the power of the present because we are not focused on it? I see us often adapting one of three states of mind that rob us of the present and the power of the present. And does anyone have an idea of what those three states of mind are? I've already touched on it a little bit. One is living with regret of the past. 2 is being dissatisfied with our present. We're staying present, but we're not happy with it. 3 is looking toward the future and being always in a state of waiting for the future. And it's easy to think of those, isn't it? Because we are often living in those states. And there's no blame or guilt there because it's so important that we become aware when we're not actually in the present. It's so important that we become aware when we're stuck in the past reliving something, The moment you become aware that that's what you're doing, you get your power back, just like that. That is, if you want it. A lot of us are very stubborn. I know I am. I can be very stubborn. I can remember things that people go, how do you remember that? It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I need to let that go. But let's take a few minutes to explore each of these places. Let's look at the past. First, spending a lot of mental time, lots of time in yesterday, in the past, regretting it, beating up ourselves. How many of you beat yourself up over things that happened in the past and relive them over and over and over again? Have you ever watched a movie where, you've seen this movie 20 times. And you really hope that they're going to make a different choice so they don't have to go through the hard part before it is resolved in the end. I find myself wishing that the movie would be different. And I've already seen it, and I already know how it's going to happen. But, oh no, don't choose that, don't choose that, don't do that, Captain Kirk, don't go there, It's like, darn, he still does it every time. Humans are the only living creature that relive their mistakes over and over and over again. We beat it. How many times do we punish ourselves for what we have done, a decision we made, or even if it was a mistake or an accident or wasn't even our fault? We just keep trying to think of a way we could have done it different. But it's already passed and it's over, right? Can you imagine a lion cub slumped in depression about a fight that he started with his, litter mate? No. Or how about the bird who accidentally flew into the window? Do you see it doing this with its wing going, what an idiot, what an idiot? No, he just flies off and continues on, right? They don't spend time thinking that, oh, that was a dumb thing to get in a fight, or what a stupid bird I am. They don't do that. They don't relive it over and over. They don't revise it in their mind, well, if I'd just taken a different path, that window wouldn't have been there, right? They don't do that. They don't do the woulda, coulda, shoulda. They don't should on themselves. And we shouldn't should on ourselves either, so. It's important to review the past and gain the wisdom we can from it, but not to live there. We don't want to live there. It's important to view the past for what it can teach us and then move forward and incorporate the wisdom of what we learn. And because I really don't want us to live in the past, that's all I'm going to say about the past. So on to dissatisfaction. A second state of mind that robs us of the present is our dissatisfaction with it. We spend time thinking about what we don't have rather than what we do have. And we don't spend the time being grateful for what it is we already have. We spend a lot of time looking at what's wrong rather than seeing the magnificent good that is everywhere, present all the time. So do an experiment with me, if you will. Close your eyes. Make a mental checklist of all the things in your life. Think about your home, your car, your bank account, your possessions, your friends, your family, your pets, your job, your hobbies, your social activities, your church. Get a nice picture of as much as what is in your life as you possibly can. Now think about how you feel about it. I know my home could use some work. There's an area that needs painting, and the patio could really use some work. And gosh, I'd like to replace those plants in the front. Yeah, there's a lot. I got a lot of clutter to get through, right? And well, my bank account, gosh, that could be a little bit bigger too. I could always spend more money on more stuff. And I wish I had more time to visit, to be with my friends. I love my friends, but it's so hard to get together. And it's wow. There's a lot of things that could be better, right? And now imagine that suddenly you get a telephone call and they're telling you that you've lost it all. Everything in your life right now is gone. Everything. Your home, your car, your bank account, your possessions, your family, your friends, your pets, your job, your hobbies, your social activities, the church. This church is no longer here. It's all gone. It's just all been wiped out, right? How does that feel? How does that feel to think about everything being gone? Be with that just for a moment. And now the phone rings again, and you're told that you were given misinformation. You didn't lose anything. Everything that was in your life is still there. Still there. How does that feel? How does it feel? The present never looked quite so good, did it? We realize what we truly have. A lot of times we don't realize what we have until we're either threatened with losing it, or we do lose it, or we go through it with someone else who loses it. Makes us really thankful for what we have in the present. So let's look at the future. A third state of mind where I think we often live is in the future. Worrying and fretting and being fearful about what's going to come, or planning and scheduling and figuring things out, waiting for it to happen. And I do believe that planning something can be half the fun of the event, as long as we recognize that we're planning for something in the future, but the planning part that we're enjoying is actually in the present moment. So it's good to be clear on that. And it's vitally important that we have a vision for our future, right? And to set intentions and to have goals, because we need to know, that we're headed in a direction. And then we release that and live in the present. Not in the wish forward, but not yet here future. Eckhart Tolle, in Practicing the Power of the Now, says that, or suggests that we've become a people of habitual waiters. Okay? And he's not talking about restaurant waiters. How much of your life do you spend waiting? What he calls small-scale waiting is waiting in line at the post office, which I did Friday. It's waiting in a traffic jam, which I do anytime I drive out of this valley, just about. At the airport, waiting in the ticket line, right? Waiting for someone to arrive. Oh my gosh, somebody's coming. Are they here yet? You're waiting for that to happen. Waiting for work to be over. Gee, is it 5 o'clock yet? Is it time to go? And so on and so on. How much time do we spend waiting? Large-scale waiting, according to Eckhart Tolle, is waiting for that next vacation. I'm only working so that I can go on vacation. I'm going to just, put my mind to this so that that's what I'm looking forward to. Or, as Allison is doing right now, she wants to stay in her job long enough so that looks good on her resume, and then she's looking for maybe a different job. But she's also starting to look now, because if something happens now, she's going to go for it. But she's decided that maybe she's not as happy where she is. But, it's like, okay, when I get this next job, then I'll be able to do this. Or when the children are grown up and gone, then we'll be able to do this. Or when I find that perfect someone, then my life can begin. Or when I make enough money, I'm not there yet. When I make enough money, then I can enjoy life, or become important, or become enlightened, that sort of thing. It's not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Keep waiting. Okay, as a kid, that's easy. Well, when I'm 16, then I'll be able to drive. Or when I'm 10, I'll be able to ride my bike off the street, and the world would be open, it'll be mine. When I'm 16, when I'm 21, well then, when I have a job, when I move out, we always have something in the future that has to happen before we can be happy and start living. And waiting, according to Eckhart Tolle, is a state of mind. Basically, it means that you want the future, you don't want the present. You don't want what you've got, you want what you haven't got. With every kind of waiting, you unconsciously create an inner conflict between your here and now, where you don't want to be, and the projected future where you want to be. This generally reduces the quality of life by making you lose the present. Because you're really not in the present. You're really not enjoying the present. So he strongly suggests giving up waiting as a state of mind. When you catch yourself slipping into waiting, snap out of it. Come into the present moment. Just be, and enjoy being. I think I had a discussion with my dad, I know I did, when, as he was getting older, he's 87 now, he was lamenting over not being able to swing a 10-pound sledgehammer and chop wood and do all the wood cutting that he used to do and all of the physical labor that he did. And I said, Dad, this is the time when, do what you feel like you can do, but then spend some time into being, because this is the time when you can really, really enrich your life in the present moment by learning how to be. And I'm not sure he's all happy with that, but it's a good thing to be present in the moment and be happy in the present moment. And I may have shared this before, but I'm still kind of really astounded by the powerful impact that it's had on my daily life, because we've over the years we did a class on living in joy, which was just lovely. We loved that class. I've studied Eckhart Tolle for years about living in the present and staying in the now. And when I found myself recently looking to the outside things, I found myself feeling kind of down or a little depressed or really anxious or frustrated. It's like, where is this coming from? And I was allowing outside events, outside people, outside decisions that were being made that I had no control over to affect how I was feeling. And I would feel those different feelings, and I thought, wait a second, they're not in control of how I feel. Where is my joy? Where do I find my joy? And it is within. It is within. My joy comes from within. It comes in from an unlimited supply of joy, which is always available, regardless of what is happening out there. So I started kind of watching that. So when something bad would happen, and I think, well, I could feel bad about that, but I know that I am filled with this joy within, and that I can send joy and I can send love to that place where this is happening that I have no control over, and I can know peace for them. But it doesn't diminish the joy I can feel inside whenever I choose. It's always available. I don't really need to wait anymore for my husband to get on board for a project or a thing that needs to be done around the house. I don't have to. I can let that go. I don't have to wait for a friend to say that she can do something with me, or for Patty to come for me to be in joy. Those things, my joy does not hinge on any of those things. Those are just things that can add, which can be great, but my joy comes from within. So if you are present, there is never any need to wait for anything. So the next time someone says, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting, you can say, that's all right. I wasn't waiting. I was standing here enjoying myself. Enjoy in myself. And then watch the look on their face, because I'm sure they, So the emphasis on tomorrow as the time when our dreams come true is also a barrier to be overcome in our prayer life. So many times we do not achieve what we are working toward because we think it is out there in the future. If I pray now, then in some future time, maybe, I hope, please God, there will be a demonstration of it. But remember what Jesus told us. Pray believing you have already received, It is already done in the mind of God, and that's why we are so careful with our treatments and the words that we use. We do not use words like, and it will happen, and I know it will be, and I know that sometime that, down the road. No, we claim it now. It is the truth, and it is already done in the mind, and now it's up to Spirit to show us how it's going to unfold and happen. Eric Butterworth once said, "The only demonstration there is, ever was, or ever will be, is in and of divine law, and the only time it knows is now." So we do not pray to heal tomorrow. Pray for the consciousness and the wholeness of now. Do not pray that tomorrow or the next day you find a job. Affirm that you are in your right place now. Do not pray to become what you want to be. Know that you are it now. You are a perfect child of God. Do not pray for greater abundance. Feel yourself outrageously blessed and abundant right now. Jesus said, "You say it is 6 months until the harvest, but I say unto you, lift up your eyes, for the fields are now white unto harvest." Remember, and this is really important, remember that prayer is not getting God to do something for you in the future. Rather, it is a process of our getting into the consciousness of the kingdom within, where it's already done. God doesn't have to do it. God's there. We have to move God. We have to move ourselves into that consciousness. We must cease thinking of that which we desire in relation to time and space and environment, or in the relative sense, we must begin to think of them as already in existence in the absolute sense. In God, there is neither beginning or end. There is only now. Remember, time is a man-made phenomenon. And in now, all is already here. It's already provided. The power of now is experiencing the presence of God. So say this with me again. The present is my point of power. The present is my point of power. The present is my only point of power.
The present is my only point of power.
And now is the time to spring into this awareness, fully awake, fully aware, fully present to the glory, the wonder, and the goodness of the moment. Let me leave you with a beautiful poem by the prolific author Anonymous. Okay, I am. I was regretting the past, fearing the future. Then suddenly my Lord was speaking. My name is I am. God paused. I waited. God continued. When you live in the past with its mistakes and regrets, it is hard. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problems and fears, it is hard. I am not there. My name is not I will be. But when you live in this moment, it is not hard. I am here because my name is I am. And so it is.